Billions of dollars worth of oil lies beneath these fields. But international sanctions have strangled Iran's energy sector for decades. Many oil fields here were using old machines and rusty infrastructure. They needed investment, and it was the Chinese who came to their aid. This facility was constructed by the China National Petroleum Company in partnership with the Iranians. At one point, Chinese workers formed half the workforce at the site.
What happens when two of the world's most powerful players, China and Iran, come together in a time of global tension? Could their growing partnership reshape global alliances? In this video, we dive deep into the evolving Iran-China relationship, explore the geopolitical implications of their ties, and assess China's potential role in a conflict involving Iran. But before we jump into that, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to stay updated on these critical global developments. Did you know the connection between Iran and China dates back over 1,000 years? These two ancient civilizations first met through trade on the Silk Road, a vast network that linked Asia to the Middle East as early as the 7th century. Imagine the cultural and economic exchanges happening then. This long history of peaceful engagement laid the groundwork for a modern partnership that has grown stronger over time. But how did these ties evolve into what we see today? And what makes this relationship so significant on the global stage? Fast forward to the 1980s, China supported Iran with arms during the brutal Iran-Iraq War. This was more than just a transaction, it was the foundation of a long-term strategic relationship. The question is, could these historical ties influence the future, especially if tensions between Iran and Israel explode into open conflict? In the decades since, this relationship has matured into a comprehensive strategic partnership, officially sealed in 2016 during Chinese President Xi Jinping's visit to Iran. One key milestone was the signing of a 25-year cooperation agreement in 2021. This agreement spans across military, political, and economic dimensions, making it vital for both countries. But what does it mean for the world? Now, here's where things get even more interesting. Iran's inclusion in BRICS, a global group that challenges Western influence, has added a new layer to its relations with China. With Iran now a full member of BRICS, can we expect China to take a more decisive stance in conflicts involving Iran? Or will China remain cautious, balancing its relationships with both Iran and its regional rivals like Saudi Arabia and Israel? Speaking of BRICS, the next BRICS summit is set to take place in Kazan, Russia, in 2024. How will China's position on Iran shape the discussions at this summit? The summit is expected to tackle major global issues, and with Iran now firmly within the BRICS orbit, its role within this economic bloc may come into sharper focus. Before we dive deeper, don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you're finding this analysis valuable. What makes Iran so important to China? The answer lies in energy. Iran is one of China's most crucial oil suppliers, especially as it helps China circumvent Western sanctions. In 2023 alone, China imported an average of 1.1 million barrels of Iranian crude oil per day. What if this vital oil supply were disrupted by conflict in the Middle East? This could send shockwaves through China's economy, potentially forcing it to look toward more expensive suppliers, like Saudi Arabia. While China has stockpiled reserves that could cover about 3 to 4 months of lost imports, an extended conflict could leave Beijing in a precarious position. This strategic dependence explains China's delicate balancing act between supporting Iran and maintaining its relationships with other Middle Eastern powers. China has traditionally positioned itself as a non-interfering power in Middle Eastern conflicts. But can it afford to stay on the sidelines if tensions between Iran and Israel escalate into full-scale war? Will China's interests in the region force it to play a more active role? Let's not forget that China brokered a peace deal between Iran and Saudi Arabia in 2023, restoring diplomatic ties between the two rivals. Could China use its diplomatic muscle to mediate in future conflicts? Or is Beijing more interested in using these tensions to its advantage, exploiting distractions caused by the United States' involvement in other global conflicts? By the way, if you're enjoying this analysis, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on our future content on the BRICS Summit in Kazan and other global developments. The 2024 BRICS Summit in Kazan will be crucial in shaping the global economic and political landscape. With Iran as a new member, how will China leverage its role in the group to strengthen ties with Iran? Could we see even more cooperation between these two nations in areas like infrastructure, technology, and military modernization? China's strategy within BRICS is clear. It seeks to expand its influence globally while challenging the United States' dominance. Could this upcoming summit further solidify Iran's role in China's Belt and Road Initiative? This initiative, aimed at boosting global trade and China's reach, benefits significantly from a stable relationship with Iran, particularly for energy security and infrastructure development. While Iran has grown closer to China, it also shares significant military and economic ties with Russia. How will this three-way dynamic play out within BRICS and beyond? Russia has been a critical ally to Iran, especially since its own international isolation following the invasion of Ukraine. Could Russia and China provide enough diplomatic and economic backing to Iran if Israel were to strike? Or would they keep their involvement to arms sales and indirect support? What role will Russia and China play in keeping Iran strong but not too bold? Iran has already supplied drones and missiles to Russia in its war with Ukraine, reversing their historic roles of military aid. Does this shift signal a new kind of alliance within BRICS? Despite its strong ties to Iran, China is hesitant to get deeply involved in Middle Eastern conflicts. The risk of destabilizing oil markets and endangering its broader global ambitions makes Beijing cautious. So, will China maintain its neutral stance, or will it be drawn further into the chaos? If war does break out between Iran and Israel, China may ultimately prefer to stay on the sidelines, preserving its strategic interests without taking significant risks. But given its economic stakes in the region, Beijing may not be able to remain entirely detached from the situation. Before we wrap up, don't forget to hit the like button if you found this video informative, and subscribe to our channel to stay connected with more in-depth analyses like this one. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time, stay informed.
These are importing around 1 million barrels a day, and with the barrel of oil at around $80 per barrel, even if you account for a discount of $4 or $5 on that barrel, you are still seeing more than $3 billion going into Iranian coffers from the Chinese every month.